It's the most wonderful time of the year. The Run for the Roses is this Saturday, May 3rd, beneath the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs. And it's not officially Derby Week until we get Pete Fornatale on from In the Money Media to help us talk about the horses, figure out what we're going to bet at Churchill Downs. Pete, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'm so excited. Derby, we finally made it to Derby Week.
We survived, which is always a good thing and never guaranteed in this life, my friend. And I'm just upset that you have a wider brimmed hat than me.
You know what? Every year you came on, you always had a good looking hat, and I had to crank it up a few notches. Got the Derby hat ready to roll. I'm excited. Should be some good weather on Saturday. We might be dodging a little bit of storms earlier in the week. We can find some mudders later on. But first, I do need to tell you, if you're going to be playing the ponies this weekend, do it with our friends at Naira Bets. Experience that adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action with Naira Bets. Bet Kentucky Derby 151 and join the smart bettors across America. You can watch all of the races unfold there. Cheer your picks to victory. Look up past performances. It's fast, easy, secure. Get your $25 free Derby bet plus a $200 deposit match for new members at nairabets.com/KSR25. Download the Naira Bets app. Put in promo code KSR25. You're going to get a free $25 Derby bet and a $200 sign-up bonus with Naira Bets. Promo code KSR25. Get on the action this Kentucky Derby season with our friends at Naira Bets. And speaking of Naira, PTF is a Naira man. Is Aqueduct the home course for you?
It's the one that would be closest to me, but in my life, I've been to several others more. Nothing against Naira. You know, I mean, when you want to get your action here at New York City's racetrack, you can. But I consider my home track Saratoga. I have a house up there as well. But I'll tell you what, my friend, and you'll appreciate this being from your part of the world. You put a gun to my head and say, what's your favorite racetrack? Nothing's better than Keeneland. I love racing in Kentucky. Huge fan of that. So, you know, basically, if there's horses running in a circle, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, you will not discriminate where they race. No matter what, you will be in on the action. And before we dive into the questions, I did want to say, In the Money Media, that's where I love what y'all have done, because if I just have 5 or 10 minutes, I can pop on a video real quick, learn about a horse, learn about a race day. You've got your top 10 Derby contenders, lots of great, easy to consume, where you don't have to be an absolute junkie. And that's why I like to have you on, so we can have a conversation that people understand. You don't have to be a horse player to be able to follow along.
Yeah, we try to provide something for every taste, right? On our YouTube channel, we have a lot of stuff. If you're just popping in because it's Derby time, we'll give you something. If you're down the rabbit hole and you want the full meal deal, deep analysis, we've got that too. The thing I really tell people, if you're interested, follow along with us on our free newsletter, inthemoneypodcast.com/email, and you'll find links to content, whether it's a quick hit you want or a deep dive. We got you covered.
Well, the first question I got is about a specific horse, because you and many others are high on this horse, and that is the Florida Derby runner-up, Sovereignty, trained by Bill Mott. I saw it out at the track last week. Looks like a great horse, but I've lost a lot of money betting on the physically impressive horses. Dortmund, that was a damn good-looking horse, but it wasn't beating American Pharoah. I don't really see it with Sovereignty, so can you explain it with me, what you see in Sovereignty?
Sure, I love Sovereignty. For one thing, when you're looking at these Kentucky Derby contenders, you really have to consider the hands they're in. Bill Mott, one of my favorite trainers of all time, and following this game for the last 3 decades-ish, you always notice when Bill Mott has a special horse and he points them to a specific target. That's one of the things I like about Sovereignty. The other thing I really like about Sovereignty is that he's never historically been the most impressive workhorse, and he's looked a lot better in the mornings lately. He, to me, is the very logical alternative to the favorite, Journalism. I'm a huge Journalism fan. I cannot go against him at the end of the day, but in all of my USA Exotic Horizontals, Exactas, etc. There'll be loads of 18s for Sovereignty on my ticket. Bill Mott with a target. It's something we've been talking about since the In the Money Players podcast first came into existence, and I'm not getting off that angle now, my friend.
One other horse that might not be in the Derby, but there's been plenty of times where you don't mention the horse that's not in the Derby yet, and then it ends up winning at 80 to 1 like Rich Strike did. Baeza will not be 80 to 1. It is wild to see the program, the morning on odds, and you're like, wait, so there's all these 30 to 1s in here, but the horse that isn't in it is 12 to 1 morning line. And I don't know about you, but the way people talk about Baeza, it makes me think that the sharp money is going to be on it and that it'll be single digits by the time they leave the starting gate if Baeza makes it. Is there, like, I have some apprehensions, though, about how lightly raced it was, in that its one big performance was in that field of 5 in the Santa Anita Derby. So can you talk me into why Baeza will be such a popular choice if it does, in fact, get into the field?
Yeah, he's a very interesting runner, okay? There's a few things you got to drill down on when you talk about Baeza. Once again, the hands he's in, okay? John Sheriff's famously conservative trainer. I mean, Zenyatta, he trains Zenyatta. Zenyatta was able to do what she did in terms of the win streak, etc., because she was so conservatively handled. Many observers, including me, wanted her to try more ambitious spots along the way. Probably wisely, she didn't. That's why she was able to win one Breeders' Cup and come this close to winning a second. So if John Sheriffs is saying that Baeza, with as few races as he has, is worthy of the Derby, I am most definitely not going to question that. One other point about Baeza, I'll say, if you like Baeza, as I do, one thing you could consider, we have this year and the last few years, this Preakness future wager. In addition to all the bets you can make on the Derby, you have the opportunity to bet horses in a parimutuel future for the Preakness. Now, this bet closes at 6 o'clock on Saturday, so you will know if Baeza is not in the Derby at that point. If at scratch time Baeza doesn't draw in, bet this horse in the Preakness future wager. He is the legit real deal to me. I'm a huge journalism fan, but Baeza, from a pace dynamics point of view, to me, ran as well as the winner did in the Santa Anita Derby. I just think he's special and he's in the right hands to keep going forward.
It was the second fastest speed figure of the entire lead up to the Kentucky Derby. They changed the point system. They tweaked it. The second place Santa Anita horse should be in there. This all feels very dumb, especially when Owen Almighty's in there. There's a couple other horses where you're just like, just run the Pat Day Mile. Give yourself a chance to win. It's really aggravating because I love betting the Pat Day Mile, which maybe we'll touch on later. But one other thing before I ask just about the race in general. Every year, PTF, you come in and you talk about the Japanese horses. You were big on Derma Sotogake, and then Forever Young was a head bob away from getting the Japanese their first Derby victory. Do we think there's a chance this year that a Japanese horse could win the Kentucky Derby?
There is certainly a chance, right? I think the Japanese will win a Derby in the next 6 years. I'm going to just throw out that time horizon for you. Forever Young and Derma Sotogake had run really fast speed figures heading into the Kentucky Derby. Derma, I'm not going to back off how positive I was on him because he didn't break, and that'll be the death knell of many a horse. And then of course he came back and ran second in the darn Breeders' Cup Classic, showing that he was no joke. Forever Young, he could have won with a clean run through, quite potentially. Luxor Cafe, visually, he passes all the tests, right? He quickened up like a grade 1 winning turf horse in that Fukaru Stakes last time in Japan. But here's my issue with him. On figures, he hasn't run as fast as those other two that weren't able to get it done. So for a horse that's going to be, 10 to 1, 12 to 1, not any kind of big price, I'm mildly against him. On my deepest spreads, I might cover with him, but I'm not a huge Luxor Cafe fan, but that does nothing to diminish my general excitement about these Japanese runners. There will be a Derby going to the Land of the Rising Sun in the next 5-6 years.
I thought Randy Moss did a great job on the Monster Pod explaining how Luxor Cafe, while comparing it to the competition, it's just not there. I know he's the son of American Pharaoh, and that's probably going to draw in a lot of money, and people know the recent Japanese history. So I'm glad that you're out. I'm out as well. I'm going to ask you about your favorite speed horse, but I want to start with mine because I don't want history to repeat itself. And in 2021, I just completely tossed Authentic. I thought this horse just it's not good enough. It's not fast enough. It doesn't stand a chance. It took the lead and then nobody ever challenged him and he ran away with it. And then he ran away in the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup was even more disappointing on my end. His son, Rodriguez, Bob Baffert, runs him out of California. He's going up against the Citizen Bulls and the journalisms of the world, and they're running him off the pace. Baffert sends him to Wood Memorial, says, you know what, take the lead. And the horse just shoots for the front, never looks back. And I know the competition isn't great in the Wood Memorial. I know you don't, I think they've only got Grande coming out of that race, and a horse from that hasn't won in a long time.
It's been a minute.
But the way they drew in the four post, he's got all the speed on the inside. Like, I think history might repeat itself. So even though Citizen Bull had that sharp speed workout this morning and everybody was blown away by it, I kind of like Rodriguez, and I don't want to get burned by Bob Baffert. I've been burned before. I don't want to get burned again. So that is my favorite speed horse. What is yours if you were to see a horse wire it, sans journalism, who would be the one that would do it from the front of the pack?
Well, it's a great question. Let me start by backing up and just talking about how bad the draw is for these Baffert runners, right? You've got 4 of the 5 most obvious speed horses drawn in those inside posts. And when you're drawn that far inside in the Derby, it takes any opportunity for like the team tactics that Baffert is kind of known for out of the mix. They're all going to have to play the break, and whoever goes. There's not going to be any of this, well, this one goes, this one tries to settle off, and then we'll see what happens. So I hate the draw for Rodriguez because I do think Citizen Bull, his only chance from that one is to break and go on with it. And that, could end up in a situation where he ends up dueling with his own stablemate, which is normally something you don't see. The horse to me, the speed horse to me that becomes interesting, who I was not interested in at all, if I'm being honest with you, before the draw, I think suddenly East Avenue becomes a little bit interesting, at least for underneath. When you have these 4 speed horses drawn out of the first 5 posts inside, it really sounds like Owen Almighty, who has early pace. They're going to rate him. They don't think he can they don't really think he wants a mile and a quarter. So I think they're going to break and just try to go in a measured pace early and maybe be able to see out the trip. All of a sudden, East Avenue is just going to get a dream run to me. He's going to be not at the top, but like right off it. That wide trip at Churchill sometimes can work as long as the speed isn't too favorable to the inside. I think East Avenue is the one who's going to trip out of those speed horses. He's the one I'm going to keep involved for those 3rd and 4th and 5th spots. I think the closers are too good. I think they're going to come claim them late. But I think East Avenue is a very interesting speed horse in this race. And I'd be a lot more interested in the Bafferts had they draw gone differently. But I'm going to fade him. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Bob Baffert kicked sand in my face. It happened in 2020 with Authentic. I was team Tis the Law there.
Yeah, me too.
Did not work out for me. But I just think the draw to me makes me okay to fade the silver wig this time around.
So that sets it up because to your point with East Avenue, I thought similar to Lacara or Lacara, you say Lacara, I say Lacara. I thought both of those horses who ran well, or at least big prices in the Breeders' Cup, I thought they were cooked, and then they show up to Keeneland and run well. Lacara wins the Ashland, and then East Avenue finishes a strong second. So that's interesting. I'm not going to deviate from. Well, no. Let's just quickly on the Oaks before we get to the Derby.
Lacara,
Do any of them have a shot against against his favorite here? Because Brad has done great with his fillies in the past, and now he's got a filly that's undefeated. I think Lakara and Tenma are intimidating on paper, or interesting on paper, but it feels like this is a year for the one seeds for both the boys and the girls in the Derby and the Oaks.
You know, it's never fun. When you do what I do, you try not to pick the favorite, right? Because
Yeah.
like, well, anybody could have come up with a favorite. But I'm favored in both races this year. Good Cheer is such a running fool. And look, she can be beat. On figures, raw figures, she does not have a huge advantage. But what she has is the fact that she has been, as the Brits say, imperious in victory in every start. That basically means, you know, she stomped a mud hole in him and walked it dry, to use the Steve Austin, the old Steve Austin line. For the wrestling fans out there, represent. Got some wrestling books back here behind me if you look close enough. But for me, I just think that despite the fact that she doesn't have a huge figure edge, Good Cheer, I just think she's too good. I think she's going to find a way to get it done for Brad and the team. And I love her in that spot. And I'm willing to take a little bit of a stand. I mean, look, there's other horses that can win that race, but the setup really favors Good Cheer.
And if it is rainy on Friday, that's what Good Cheer did in her second start. She won in the slop at Churchill by 17 lengths. Am I reading that right? 17?
Yeah, she's no joke. I mean, she's so good. And the last run, the thing that I love about the last run, you know, the figure was okay. It was a representative, good figure. But, I mean, she was super wide on a day where every other race went inside. Didn't matter to her. That's the kind of quality she has. She's a running fool.
Well, back to the Derby. You mentioned it. There's part of me that thinks that we're either due for a front runner or we're due for a favorite. It's been the Mystic Dan's ride. That was too crazy. Rich Strike. That was too crazy. This race produces some crazy finishes, but I think we need to get back to normal a little bit. I was going to talk myself into Tapan Street, kind of, because I really liked his Florida Derby, and then that horse has the Combler injury. That stunk. I kind of think that it's just going to be journalism, and it might just run away and be one of those powerhouse performances that we're talking about for a long time. Do you kind of see something similar where the speed on the inside just lays out a perfect trip out of the 8 post for the favorite to just hit the wire?
That's exactly it, my friend, because there's a few things about journalism that I really like. He's not some deep plotting closer. He's got tactical speed. I mean, to be able to close and win in those short fields, that takes something a little bit extra than your sort of, you know, I mean, nothing, look, Sandman would be one of the great stories of this year's Derby. I don't want to knock him, but I mean, you look at late pace figures, he can't hang with the likes of journalism. Journalism should have the tactical speed to negotiate a terrific trip, especially with all that speed inside. And I think when they're turning in, he's going to lay down a challenge, and I'd be surprised if they beat him. I mean, look, I love Sovereignty, and I could see him stepping up, but I mean, for me, it's those two in the top spot. You key them first and second, play some live long shots in your exotics, and you hope for the best. I really think this is a year where the top of the market is the place you want to be in the Kentucky Derby. And journalism, I'm a big, big fan.
If you go back and watch the Santa Anita, that I thought it used its one move to get out of trouble, and then he had another move in him to be able to catch Baeza. It was really impressive. But you mentioned Sandman. That horse was so green in the Arkansas Derby. It's a beautiful horse, and that was a great win. I can't trust it. I'm out on it. But a long shot that I will like to play underneath, that's another fun closer. I know that it might be a little bit of a faux pas, but the Turfway horses have done well in recent years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Final Gambit came roaring. I don't even think he saw the whip until the 8th pole, and then he just shot down past the competition for the middle of the track. So Final Gambit, I don't know what kind of price you're going to end up getting with him, but morning line 30-1. Give me Final Gambit underneath and all of those exotics. Saturday, twice on Sunday. I know it's not happening on Sunday, but give me Final Gambit as one of my long shots. Do you have a favorite underneath?
I mean,
favorite long shot?
those horses that you mentioned, those Turfway horses, both could potentially
Yeah.
hit the board at a very big number. I mean,
I can't I can't bet
again,
against Jason Worth now too. I mean, that guy, he just keeps stumbling into wins, you know?
it is sort of crazy how Jason. I mean, we interviewed him for the Monster Pod, and it was like, how ridiculous is this for the guy? I mean, he just gets to the game. Like, and I know he is seasoned enough that he knows how lucky he is. But the idea that you could have a Classic winner last year and be right back in the Derby this year with the amount of horses he has, it's completely nuts. The crazy long shot I'm interested in, though, I'm going to put forth a little bit of a shout on number 19, Chunk of Gold. In this race with all these millionaires, right? You got this horse who cost $2,500. I mean,
Jeez.
we've had bar bills bigger than that. Nick. I mean, it's just nuts. And the fact is, this horse has run well enough. He has, the X-ray is back on Chunk of Gold, and he got that dog in him. He can run. He is a very competitive horse, and I could see him being able to just sort of plug along and get in there. Like, can he win? I don't know. I think the top of the market's too tough. But for your third, for your fourth, for your fifth, Chunk of Gold, very, very interesting. And he should be a wild price in this year's Kentucky Derby.
Oh man. Hopefully we can get one of those wild prices, even if it's chalky. There's still plenty of money to be made, especially if you use Naira Bets, official partner of KSR. That's promo code KSR25 when you sign up. You can get that free $25 Derby bet and a $200 deposit match with Naira Bets. Before you go, PTF, the undercard. I haven't dug into it yet. I'm going to share some with our followers. Do you have a favorite or a long shot? I know Verity. It was a pretty impressive horse out of Keeneland last time that I saw in the 8 bells. It's a tradition unlike any other. It's betting the Brad Cox horses after the Derby. Shout out to Strobe, who was a big winner for us, who covered all of our losses one year. Those are a couple that I've got my eye on. What do you have your eye on in the undercard?
Well, Verity is one that is on my short list, so I will definitely second your shout on that one. But I'll give you a few others for the races that I've done the deep dive on. Race number 8, the Churchill Downs Stakes. What a war. This is one of the great races you will see this year. I'm giving Banishing a shot. That's a horse that will be one of the speeds, sort of a house horse for us at the In the Money Media Network. Larry Roman, who owns that horse, does shows with us from time to time. And I'm a big fan of Banishing, but boy, there's so many horses you have to use if you're going to be confident about getting through that 8th race. Another I have to mention is my old friend Bookham Dano. In the race number 9 on Saturday, the American Turf, I'll give a shout to a couple runners, including number 7, Zulu Kingdom, who I think is going to really be suited by this race. And then the 5, Test Score in there. That's another one I need to have on tickets. Race 10, Derby Distaff, a big price, I think, is going to be, or at least a square price is going to be number 2, Copian, who I really like. In the Turf Classic, I like Integration. Will be one of the favorites, but I think he's going to absolutely trip out and do well in there. That's the number 1 runner in there. So those are a few of the ones I'm really looking forward to betting with a quick rattle through on the Saturday card. But hey, you throw a race at me, I'm happy to talk about it. This is what we're here for.
I'm glad you mentioned Grand Motion on the Turf. When in doubt, he was test score was 10-1 winner last time out. And last year on Derby Day had Trickery at, I want to say 47-1. And oh man, you want to talk about, that'll make your day when you got that horse across the board. That was it doesn't get much better than that. Hitting a bomb in a turf race on Derby Day. Whew.
It's great. There's so many good ways to try to express your opinions on these days, whether it's in the pick bets or the verticals trying to hit tries or supers. I mean, the old expression that we always bust out, it only takes one. And that's probably the right idea. I mean, Derby Day is a day where you can bet a little to make a lot.
Well, hopefully we do. PTF, thank you so much for joining us. You're going to be in Louisville, correct?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there this week. We've got a show on Wednesday in Lexington. We've got a show that's actually open to the public. You can just turn up. You don't even need tickets.
Wow.
Thursday night in Louisville at the Galt House. Now, if you're at Thurby, it'll be hard to get there. But
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
just getting into town and you're downtown, come see us 5:30 at the Galt House. JK will be there. I will be there. Hopefully, Nick Tamara will be there with us. We're going to just be talking about these races, doing a live stream,
Nice.
and hopefully having an opportunity to give out some winners. And if folks want more of my act, there's a lot of ways to do it. Probably the number one these days, subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. We've got a lot of great content over there. Check out inthemoneypodcast.com. Loads of free written content there. And if you want even more, we've got an In the Money Plus service. We've got proprietary speed figures, grid picks for all the big races. If you want to check out that, go to inthemoneypodcast.com/plus.
Boom. You nailed it. You nailed it on this show. I appreciate you joining us every year. This is one of the most fun shows we have. And the best part is like all of this hype. We got the post position. This is just Monday. We got more days to talk about it, to discuss, to debate. It's going to be so much fun. PTF, thanks so much for joining us. And happy Derby, my friends. Safe travels. Can't wait till you get here to Churchill Downs to see all of the exciting action beneath the Twin Spires.
Thank you, my friend. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to raise a glass and toast a few winners. Kentucky Derby is here.
Yes. Happy Derby, everybody.